Week 24 in the books in the English Premier League. We got movement at the top of the table. We got some movement at the bottom of the table. Really, not too much movement, but a little bit of movement and plenty of other interesting matches as well. The starting 11 starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Starting 11 here on the Let's Get Ready Network. I'm Adelia, that's my buddy Snark, and we're here to talk about Matchweek 24 in
Sure.
the English Premier League,
Mhm.
which had some big results for some teams and some not so big results for other teams.
Kind of an odd week. To say yes, I'm happy with how this week went. There are points of this week. I will say I was not very happy, but we'll talk about it when we get around to it. But I guess we should start as we do every week with the first match of the week. Man City at home to poor Everton. Everton really needing points here. They're still mired in relegation, Adelia.
Yep.
And they really didn't have a chance against City, though. Like you never thought, like, oh, there's a spot they could
No,
pick up a point or two. No,
no,
no, no.
never
Yeah,
thought.
they did play well though. They played well. Defensively, they hung on for about 70 minutes or so,
Yeah,
and then this guy hasn't been around for a while. Decides he should start scoring again. Erling Holland netting two. One from a scramble off a corner in the 71st minute. And then Kevin De Bruyne finds a real nice pass. The 85th minute, his two goals puts him up to 16. Now, Adelia, he was gone. He hadn't scored. Well, he was injured. Hadn't scored in 77 days. He is still
yeah,
atop the Premier League scoring. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't think we're going to be there. No one's going to be watching for 50 from Erling Holland this year. Won't even be
No, I
watching
don't
for
think
40.
so.
It'll be tough. It's going to be interesting to see if anyone even makes 30 this year.
Yeah,
With Salah having had go out or whatever, he goes to play for Egypt at AFCON, gets hurt, and who knows when he's coming back. I guess it was worse than they thought. So yeah, but poor Everton, still a relegation place. Uh, I also like the pre-match press conferences. Sam Dyche questioning just why Sam Dyche again. Sean Dyche questioning why it's taking so long for City's penalties to be awarded,
yeah,
as they have been all over Everton already. The 10 points deduction plus possibly more coming. I think if they do any more to Everton, oh my goodness gracious! But we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I think they should. I think 10 points is still kind of harsh, but what are you
yeah.
gonna do? What are you gonna do? To say that they haven't fared very well in the last couple of months, I think is an understatement. Especially when they were doing so well,
They were.
especially after the announcement was made. They really banded together. They played well, but you can see the quality dropping there. Now,
Yeah.
speaking of playing well, Luton have been playing well.
Yep.
Luton getting results. Luton scoring goals.
Lots of
Then,
goals for Luton lately.
yeah, they had 8 goals in 2 games for them leading up to this. They get Sheffield United, their partners in advancement from last year, and they lay an egg.
Yep.
They, they were, I say, they played fine. Sheffield United just took care of what they needed to take care of, winning on the road at the Kenny, at the little Kenny. They went 3-1. Uh, so a little bit of help for Everton there.
A little bit.
Luton's only going to stay a point ahead of them. Cam Archer gets that first one. Really terrific touch to win the ball, and then some blazing speed into the box there.
Yeah.
Not much. keeper could do from there. Kind of just picks a spot, goes in. Uh, what else? Oh yeah, then a couple penalties happen. One where Souza hits a header. It goes off of a Luton arm. Puts the goes to the spot. He puts it home, and then on the other side of the pitch, Souza's arm touches a ball in the box that puts Carlton Morris to the spot. He scores, but it's Souza again to finish the scoring. 3-1 final. Surprising. It's only Sheffield United's third win this season.
Yeah.
It puts them level on points with Burnley. But
Yep.
Burnley, of course, has a better goal differential. They've never let in 8 at home. Burnley, at least they
Yeah.
can say that.
This was probably the best I've seen Sheffield United all season, attacking wise. I was a little surprised that they managed to pull that off. I mean, Luton's defense isn't necessarily great, but I was a little surprised that this was a win for Sheffield United after the way Luton's been playing.
I don't think too many predicted Luton would have won that match or should have lost that match, but
Yeah.
that's why the games are played.
Yep.
That's why the games are played. Yep. That's why stick around and you watch Luton v Sheffield United. You never know what'll happen. Now,
Yeah.
let's move to West London. And
Okay.
those poor little neighbors of Chelsea, Fulham Football Club, at
Mhm.
home, at the cottage, against Bournemouth. They don't really put in a great performance, but they get 3 points. And that's
Yep.
all that matters. Like Bournemouth had 25 shots on target, but
They did, yeah.
only put 4 on net. Or sorry, yeah, 25 shots at, 25 shots at, but only 4 actually went on target. Fulham gets off to a quick start. It's Bobby DeCorva Reed as it scores just 5 minutes in. Rodrigo Munoz puts the Cottagers up 36 minutes in, getting into a ball. And Netta really did react to far too late. He watches it drop for some reason, does nothing, and then, I should get this. And no.
Yeah.
Too bad. Marco Senesi, who actually thought played really well for Bournemouth, gets the one back from the Cherries from the corner. Does well. He just controlling the header that came down to him, and then nice little spin. Puts it in. I like those kind of goals. So I thought I'd mention it. And then Fulham finished them off 2 minutes later. A beautiful cross from Willian that finds Munoz boot again. In front by himself. The one-timer goes to the top of the net. So Fulham now has leapfrogged Bournemouth in the 12th space. It's only 12th space, but Fulham has again. Who do they have? They're still hanging in there. They got no one who wants to score, but they're still hanging in there. They could have used some people, but they did nothing. They did the one thing they did was get Broya out of Chelsea, and I think they're playing him 5 minutes a game. So there you go. Next up,
he was on the bench again for that game, wasn't he?
Yeah, he has to play
What was the point of loaning him?
This is something that Chelsea does, though. They loan people out, and then people just sit them. See Andre Santos when he was over at Forest and stuff like that. People just don't play these guys. So, take them. Probably end up sending him to France at some point, but we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah, and still such a weird setup with Broya where he has to play so many minutes. Otherwise, Chelsea doesn't get Chelsea gets their $4 million. If he plays a lot of minutes, then they have to pay him. But if they don't, then whatever.
Yeah.
Something strange. It's just so weird. Financially,
it's very strange.
Financially, do you think I make sense in my own club? I do not.
No.
I don't get it. Well, what are you going to do?
I don't think anyone does.
Yeah, well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we've tricked people into not censoring us. We'll see. I doubt it, though. Now, let's move on. Let's move on to another match that should have been fairly straightforward. Liverpool, Burnley. It does turn out to be straightforward. It's a Liverpool win, 3-1. But it maybe should have been different, especially the first half where Burnley was very good.
They were very good.
Yeah. If not, well, we'll talk about David, another Chelsea striker at Loney in a minute. Yeah, but then let's say this also that neither coach too impressed with Tim Robinson, the referee, both getting yellow cards for separate events, not for the same event. Yeah, like each coach each coach thinks the referees have to get them, he's not doing a good job keeping this
Yeah.
game in check. But so it means Victor Company will miss his little trip to visit you guys, or you'll miss him. I think you guys have to go to the turf more next week, right? I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he won't be there. That's his third. Now, for the goals, Joda scores a header from a corner to open up the scoring, maybe against the end run of play. Again, Burnley had started out really well, and then Liverpool slowly started to get into the match. Jota scored, which he seems to be doing quite enough of lately, for my taste. And then Burnley get it back actually before halftime. Dara O'Shea, great name. I believe it's a header or whatever. Just before the clock or the whistle gets blown there. His first Premier League goal. We've said that I don't know how many times in the last couple of
A
weeks,
lot.
but
A lot.
another Premier League goal debutant here in Dara O'Shea. Congratulations to him. Liverpool takes the lead back. Harvey Elliott on for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who got hurt. He gets a pass to the front of the net. It takes a deflection off a Burnley boot straight to an oncoming Luis Diaz's head. He doesn't even break stride. It's going to bounce, and there he is. A little bit of bad luck for that. That was in the 44th minute. Now they're up 2-1, and David Datro Fofana has two glorious chances.
Golden chances.
Oh, so unlucky. The first one is it's a nice save, but the rebound also should have been put in, but it goes about 30 feet too high.
Yeah.
I'll never understand that. Just take your time. I guess maybe it's going off the guy was going from his left boot and stuff like that. Maybe it's not his best. But then he gets another shot at it in alone, tries to curl it past, and it just wouldn't go. It just didn't go straight and stuff like that. Some bad luck for Fofana, who's had a pretty good run here over the last
He
two
has.
games.
Yeah.
It's been a good fit for him at Burnley. He'll be back at Chelsea in the summertime. We'll see if they do anything with him. My guess is they'll probably loan him out again. Who knows with these guys? Darwin Nunez gets the last goal of the game. Heading home
Nice
another
header.
Yeah, and heading home another one. Another nice cross from Harvey Elliott, who came in and took over second half. Liverpool jump over City again for top spot. City had briefly for about 2 hours been top spot of the league. Liverpool back up top. And we move on to the Molineux and a Wolves team that looked fantastic against Chelsea.
Yep.
Mop the floor with Chelsea at the bridge.
They did.
They get to go home and lay an egg. But they lose 2-0 to Brentford. I will say, Matthias Cunha goes out 20 minutes in, and that is your entire office. Wang Li Chen still not back, still injured. Who I'm not sure when he'll be back. So really needed Cunha in there. Tough. It's tough, especially after he comes off a hat trick against Chelsea.
Yeah.
The Bees get their first. As from Sergio Regulian corner. Nice little. He's finally adding something to the squad or whatever after coming in off loan. It's Christian Norgard getting his head to it for the go ahead. Turns out to be winning marker. I will say, Mark Flecken played very well in net for Brentford.
He did.
I think he's I'm not sure who was nominated or who was named man of the match. It really doesn't matter. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'll talk about it when I talk about the Chelsea match. But yeah, he was fantastic for them. He makes a real good save on Neto.
Man of the match was Ivan Toney.
Again, I do not understand this at all. I do not get it. He does score the final goal. It's true. He does score the final goal. but it's not like he was involved with like the entire run of play and stuff. It's
Yeah.
yeah, a strange one, a strange one. Yeah, like yeah, I don't think anybody gets any money. They got that weird little trophy thing for whatever,
Yeah.
but
It's like a cylinder shaped
yeah,
trophy. It's weird.
geez whiz, worth nothing. Uh, and Wolves did have their chances. Well, Len Dawson had a goal called back.
Craig.
Yeah, he was offside. Sorry, Craig. Though. Uh, yeah, and it was yeah. As for Tony's goal, it was a real nice pass from Vitaly Janelle, and there
Yeah.
was nothing much that Jose Sa could do. They just couldn't
I,
score. Wolves couldn't
eh,
score as soon as Cunha went out, and it was a huge problem.
yeah. The missing Cunha was a big miss.
Yeah.
And yeah. Ivan Toney, I think, has 3 goals since he came back, which is one fewer than Gabriel Jesus has all season.
Well, he also maybe only should have had 2. Maybe
Yeah.
that first one shouldn't have counted the way he kept pushing that ball
Yeah.
up, but he got away with it. He didn't get away with much. He didn't
No.
get away with much this season, I guess. So he can
Also,
get away with
didn't Craig Dawson have a goal called back in this game
yeah.
for being
That's what
offside by like a
that's
pinky toe?
yeah. It was barely. That's what I was talking about just before the Tony goal. He's barely offside. Like I
This
said,
is the kind of offside I can't stand.
yeah. It
Like,
should be. You should never have the lines. It should never have the lines. Just
no.
run it at full speed. You could have angles, fine. You can have angles. Run it at full speed. That's how you determine if you really made a mistake. If it
Yeah.
looks that bad or whatever, that should be it. That should be it. None of this.
They're not gonna do that though.
No, no, no.
We've got this technology and it's here to stay, unfortunately.
Awful. Anyways, speaking of awful, we made a commitment, Adelia. We have to talk about every match in the Premier League. So
We
we have to
do.
talk. We have to talk about Spurs beating Brighton 2-1. Uh,
Man.
mm, they're at home
Yeah.
at the stadium nobody wants essentially.
Yeah.
Now, Brighton, lots of early pressure, and then Mickey Van de Ven steps on Buonanotte in the box. Some people are like, "What? What? Like, how's that a penalty?" Because he stepped on him in the
Yep.
box. It's a pretty
That's a clear
pretty
cut
easy call.
penalty.
Pretty easy call. Pascal Gross or Grom or whatever, however you want to spell it, steps up to score to put the Seagulls. They're up early, but they played pretty well throughout the half. They just didn't get rewarded. He just couldn't find another goal. Matoma playing again. It was nice to see Kieran Matoma back,
Yep.
but you could tell he had to get up to speed in the Premier League again. Spurs tie it after 60 minutes, and it's a fantastic pass from Kulusevski. Finds
It really
Papsar,
is.
who tries to play it to Richarlison. The
Mm-hmm.
pass gets blocked, comes off the post, straight back to Papsar, and he has an entire net. And not even Papsar is going to miss that. So
Yep.
it's a whole new game, tied an hour in, and into extra time. And they keep doing this. It's 6 minutes awarded. After 5 minutes and 45 seconds of being played, James Madison starts a rush, passing it to Richarlison, who gives it to Son back as well, who crosses a cross goal to Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson just hammers it into the top of the net.
Yep.
That's it. That's how Spurs win again. A
Yep.
last minute gasper.
I saw a tweet on Twitter that said something like Spurs have gained 15 points from losing positions and lost 15 points from winning positions this year.
Yeah, everyone's as confused as Spurs as we are. They're hanging in there. They're
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 hanging
gonna
in.
be playing in Europe this year the way they're going. This makes me ill.
I still don't think Ange Postecoglou is the second coming of whatever people seem to think he's the second coming of, but
The deal is they really like his interviews. They like the way he talks and stuff like that. He plays that high line and stuff like that. People like that aggressive style of football. I guess that's it. When you have teams that don't want to score, they play well.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big deal for them. Teams that do want to score, they seem to get exposed quite a bit. So, yeah, when it like, I sent you that thing I saw from Sky Sports. It's Sir Alex Ferguson being interviewed. So asking if Tottenham has any chance at the Premiership, and he starts laughing and says no. And then they talk about a couple other things, and then he asks, "Do you think Tottenham will ever win the championship?" And again he laughs, and he says no.
He says no.
No. And he's right. The Spurs will never win the Premier League. Ever.
Hell will have frozen over if Spurs win the Premier League.
Ever. It will never happen, guys. Never. All right. Speaking of never, actually, I have no idea why I said that. A fun match.
It was a fun match.
A fun match of the Saturday. Forest and Newcastle. Good game, I would guess, to say, for Bruno Guimaraes. He scores after 10 minutes. Kieran Trippier with a fantastic cross to set up that goal from well outside the box. I think Kieran Trippier is leading the league in assists after this. Bananas.
Crazy.
Considering he was in pretty bad form there for a few weeks.
Yep.
Newcastle.
All of Newcastle was.
Newcastle's bananas anyways. Finds him in space. He gets it at the one post, puts it in the farm post. Now, Anthony Elanga, I guess, has been a Newcastle killer for whatever reason. And he gets Forrest going. Another terrific pass. Morgan Gibbs White finds him, split between Dan Burn and Sven Botman. And for some reason, Dubravka decides to come out right to the D.
Did not understand that.
You just take away two weapons when you do that as a goalkeeper. You can't play with your hands. So he just nutmegs him, puts it right through his legs or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and it's something that we've seen against Dubravka a couple times. The people just keeping his legs too far apart. Yep. Ties it up. Yeah, I still can't believe he came out that far. Fabian Scher. I'm going to think that's how I'm saying it right. So weird with the umlauts over the A. Anyways, he scores 42 minutes in. And then Callum Hudson-Odoi, 5 minutes into extra time now, ties the game. Taiwo Awoniyi gets a goal called back. Offside in the second half. 10 minutes later, he gets another chance. And he seems to get pushed by Botman this time. And then it looks like Dubravka puts his arm up again. Dubravka already had his arm out. Puts it out again for some reason. Takes him down. No penalty awarded. And VAR is fine with that.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
You begin to understand why when I tell you it was Anthony Taylor, that was the ref. And yes, maybe the worst thing to happen to football. Well, since VAR. Anyways, whatever. They don't call it. So, game remains tied. And just 3 minutes after that, a pretty poor giveaway from Nico Williams. Guimaraes takes it. He just goes to the top of the D, finds a spot, hammers it home. Newcastle win at the City Ground. They look like they can score, but defensively, Forest are an absolute mess.
Yep.
That's the one. If Luton continues to play well, that's another one that Everton could be looking at and say, we can catch Forest the way they're going.
Yep.
Just not sharp. But speaking of sharp, we got a sharp-looking Alabaman ready to talk to you all about our Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Justin, aka Hambone, just here to let you know a couple of things that we have going on with the channel. One, we have a Patreon. If you can and want to support us, you can do that. As little as $1. You can join the Discord. We also have a merch store where you can get some cool shirts, mugs, and stuff with all of our different shows and labels on there. And thank you for all of our supporters that have already been there with us.
That's patreon.com/LGR_network if you're interested in supporting the channel. And while you're here, why don't you subscribe to the channel? We'd really appreciate it. Just click that little notification bell as well to know whenever we upload or go live. So check it out.
Very nice. I'm going to switch up the order for the Sunday real quick.
Okay.
We'll talk about your team second, but we'll talk about Villa at Villa Park taking on Manchester United, a marquee matchup for the week, a good matchup. And Villa blows it. Villa went from being unbeatable at home to losing its last 3 in all competitions, including a 3-1 defeat to a certain West London club in the FA Cup, in which they smashed the hell out of them, and it never looked close at all. But also losing to Newcastle. Now this United loss in the most united way possible, of course. But we'll talk about the game quick here. Rasmus Højlund's heating up. He's figured out how to score your goals in the Premier League again, and he scores 17 minutes in. Douglas Luiz, the man who ties it, and I absolutely love the celebration down underneath
the shimmy.
The shimmy of the shoulder shimmy. Too fun. And then United do what United do. 5 minutes left. Diego Dalot puts it in to the box, finds Scott McTominay. McTominay heads it home.
Another late Scott McTominay goal for United this season.
People keep forgetting it's 90 minutes and not 80 something. You have to play the full time. Like United gets it. Like as much shit as we talk about United, they get it. They play until the end.
They play till the end. Yeah.
One thing I'll also say is I have been rough on Onana, their goaltender. He was very good in this game.
I thought this was probably his best game of the season.
Yeah. I'm shocked. He never missed a match for AFCON. I still think he made some real nice saves, especially in the first half. So United now they're now 5 points back. Villa in 6th. They also moved 5 points ahead of Newcastle. So they found themselves in a nice little spot there for Europa League, which is great. Congratulations from Europa League. But good job. Like you play to the final whistle. You can't let up, and they just seem to have guys that do that. Now we'll talk. Okay, Adelia, I don't know if you've ever been a victim of a burglary or home invasion. I have.
No, I have not.
I've had my apartment broken into one day at work. Tell you, it's a scary feeling. I believe I slept with a hockey stick at my bed for a couple of days after that. Your home doesn't feel like your home for a little while. You have that taken from you.
Yeah.
And now Arsenal's done the same thing to West Ham, and I hope you're happy.
I'm very happy.
They go into London Stadium and slap them around for 90 minutes. And more importantly, like even 15 minutes, man, of the first half.
That 15-minute span in the first half was insane.
6-0.
Yep.
6-0.
I mean, this was important on many levels. Most importantly, though, we closed the goal difference between us and Man City. We're even on goal difference now.
Well,
so we are
just 2 points behind. Like I said,
2 points behind Liverpool, tied with Man City.
It's going to be so crazy. A couple of numbers for you. You guys had 70% of the ball.
That seems about right.
Yeah, you had 12 shots on target.
That also seems about right.
You only gave up 1 shot on target.
Yes.
You had twice as many touches them, and then of course, most importantly, the 6 goals.
Yeah.
Now, the first one coming from Saliba in from another course. Saliba turning out to be a scoring machine for you guys.
Saliba is good at the set pieces this year. We've scored 16 goals off set pieces this year, so that's important.
Yeah, I am jealous because that's something that Chelsea just can't do. The second, Saka's awarded a penalty after he gets taken down by Areola on a break-in. It seemed very similar to the kind of tackle that was done to Awoniyi. That wasn't called earlier, but
Yeah.
it was for sure a penalty. Like,
it's definitely a penalty. It was a penalty on Awoniyi, and it was a penalty on Saka, but it's the inconsistencies of the fact that both of those were not called penalties is annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying. Gabrielle gets another goal.
Opposite piece.
Yeah, Declan Rice free kick. Leandro Trossard scores again. This is all within 15 minutes of each other in the second half. From like
I think
the
I put in the Discord.
minute, yeah.
I think I put in the Discord. I thoroughly enjoyed that 15.
Yeah. So yeah, Trossard puts the ball in the top corner. Saka gets another one on the other side of half, 63 minutes in, and then Declan Rice, of course, he had to score. At London Stadium again. It's from well out too. It's from well out.
It was a great goal.
Yeah, it makes it sick. He did mute his celebrations, like we said before. It's classy.
He did, yes. Yeah, that's very classy.
Sure. Yeah. So now you guys.
There were a couple of chances after that to make it 7 as well. El Neni had one that went straight to the there was El Neni had one that went straight to the keeper. There was another one that was El Neni. Like, they kept saying on my commentary, if they get that 7th goal, they'll be ahead of Man City.
Yeah.
Of course, we couldn't do it.
Well,
but closing the goal difference gap was very important because it was, I don't know exactly what it was prior to that game, but the 6 goals definitely helped close the gap.
Yeah. Well, they scored 3s, so I guess the difference was 3.
They scored 2.
Oh, they scored. What, City only scored 2?
Yeah, City won 2-0. The 2 Holland goals.
Yeah, so there you go. So they were up 4. Right, 4-2. So yeah, they were up. Yeah, so the difference must have been 4. So you've made up the difference. So now, you guys get a chance with Burnley to add some more goals. I think City gets Chelsea at home, and who knows who they're going to get there. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the good news is that for as long as the Hammer stay at London Stadium, they have to send you guys rent checks because you own that stadium. They're not allowed to call it home.
And this coming off the back of West Ham beating us twice already this year was really satisfying. So yeah, it was good. We also had the bench. Apparently, we had a couple of youngsters on the bench, and some of the people on the bench were whispering, "Put in Ethan and Nweri."
Mm-hmm.
So Arteta put him in. He said so after the game because he heard the whispers. He was like, "Yeah, let's put Ethan in." And so Ethan played like 20 minutes, which you don't generally get when you're 17 years old. So that was good. I enjoyed that.
Gets to do it in a stress-free environment in front of a whole lot of disappointed people.
Oh, the screams of West Ham fans leaving at halftime
I was going to say
brilliant.
Only maybe half the fans, because most of them got out of there after the first half.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
I was listening to the Two Robbies podcast earlier today. Sure. Robbie Musto and Robbie Earl, the NBC Sports analysts, and Robbie Musto said West Ham weren't second best in this game; they were about 5th best. They were so bad.
Yep. But as far as we know, David Moyes will still have a job come Matchweek 25.
Yeah, he does. He still has a job.
There you go.
They're in the last 16 of the Europa League, and they're still in a good position in the league. So that's why he still has a job.
Yeah. It's still fascinating to me. Fascinating. Yeah. Anyways, what else is fascinating? Not fascinating, but disappointing maybe. And this is coming on from a Chelsea win. Chelsea win. They win 3-1 on the road over at Upton Park.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal Palace
Selhurst Park, not Upton Park.
Sorry, Selhurst Park. Why did I say Upton Park? Anyways, yes, Selhurst Park. They were terrible. Let's say this. They were terrible in the first half. For as much progression they made, and for as good as they looked, and it may have been the best played Chelsea match in a long time versus Villa. They looked in complete control of the ball. They were fighting their way forward. They shut everything down at the back. It was just Enzo and Caicedo playing side by side and owning the middle of the pitch. Nobody could move against it. So what did they do? They decided to change their shape and put Enzo in front of Caicedo again, leaving all kinds of open space. Everybody, Noni Madueke gets a start. Noni Madueke, much like Misha, has speed to burn, but he also has a fairly decent shot. One thing he can't do is pass.
Yeah.
One thing he can't do is play defensively either. And unfortunately, both were put to the test. Jefferson Lerma takes the ball from him that he just weakly tried to pass to Caicedo. And when I say weakly, he basically nudged it. He nudged the ball in a Premier League match to someone away, someone who was on the ground, and maybe there should have been a foul called there, but there wasn't. They said you have to keep playing. Lerma just takes it. And puts a rocket of a shot on net. Let's say this. That goal that he scores was a beauty. And just outside of Petrovic's fingertips. Couldn't do much about it. So they go ahead. They take the lead into halftime. I don't know if Pochettino would say anything to them, but one thing he realized, Madueke wasn't for the game. So he puts it in Cuckoo. And Cuckoo, who should be starting every game for Chelsea, right? He should just be starting every game for Chelsea.
He should be.
I don't understand why Christopher and Cuckoo isn't starting every game for Chelsea. Anyways, he gets to come on. He doesn't factor into the goals, but he factors into the shape, which is good. The one man who does factor into goals is a young man who has bled blue his entire life. A man who was actually on loan at Crystal Palace a couple seasons ago. His name's Conor Gallagher, and I've talked about him quite a bit on this show.
You have.
He will kick the ball 30 feet high every time. So I think what I'm thinking what happened, is that someone nudged him before the match and said, Connor, the net is 24 feet wide by 8 feet high, not 24 feet high by 8 feet wide. And he said, oh, okay. And first chance he gets, he rifles a shot underneath the bar. Now, tying the game. This was after a lengthy delay to starting the second half because Michael Oliver's battery pack blew up or something like that. So something went wrong with his battery pack. He couldn't communicate with anybody. So he would have had to do it like old school officiating. So no, that can't happen. So yeah, it took a while for the second half to start going again. Some of the commentators are mentioning maybe that's why they had such a poor start for Crystal Palace in the second half because it was only 2 minutes by the time Gallagher scored. It's like everybody had that same break, you morons. But then that was very early. Again, it's only 2 minutes in, and then a lot of nothing. Still a lot of nothing. And I'm thinking, well, at least a point. Like, it's disappointing for me knowing that we just don't lose to Crystal Palace ever. Chelsea doesn't lose to Crystal Palace. Yeah. And the kid that bleeds blue remembered, oh, yeah, we don't lose to Crystal Palace ever. And he scores in the 90th minute, then runs over to the sidelines, starts to get up on the barriers there, gets pushed back by a security guard. A huge crush of people come forward. Somehow Axel Disasi ends up in the crowd with the fans. He's celebrating with them. He gets yellow carded or whatever, but if he's gonna get a yellow card, then that's one to take. I think just endearing yourself to the visiting support, because honestly, Chelsea has put them through hell this year. And then with only a couple with 4 minutes later or whatever, in the extra time, Raheem Sterling actually makes a good football play, finding Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer rushes in a bit. Enzo Fernandez comes in. Cole Palmer puts a pitch perfect pass at his feet. Enzo stops. Munoz slides right by him.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, Enzo still waits with the ball. Munoz gets up, then falls again. And that's when Enzo says, "Oh, I should kick this thing in the net." Does. Beats Dean Henderson. 3-1 Chelsea. A first half disgrace salvaged by 45 minutes of, well, even not 45 minutes, like 10 minutes of work, sandwiched in between about 35 minutes, 40 minutes of really not doing much in the afternoon. But
Yep.
You don't say you don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
No, you'll take this.
You get 3 points, you take them. Chelsea now up to 10th. Now they're only a point behind Brighton, only 2 points behind West Ham and Newcastle. The problem is who Chelsea have to face in match week 25. And before we start doing predictions we go over our predictions from the previous week, which ended in a 4-all draw. Both of us take home the spoils for match week 24.
Yep.
But going into match week 25, a match week where you won't be joining us, you'll be on location for the station, doing some top secret Let's Get Ready Network work behind the scenes. So we will still do our predictions. I will still probably lose the week. It doesn't matter. Let's start.
Ferris will be here next week to do the show with you. So.
I'll send for some predictions from Ferris. I'll make sure I have them written in before we start the week. Now, so you and I, match week 25. We start with Brentford and Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool's going to win this match. It'd be fun. It would be real fun if they didn't.
Would be, but they're not going to.
No. At the Turf Moor, your Arsenal team and Burnley.
Arsenal.
No Victor Company. No chance at all, really, even if he was there. I'm going Arsenal as well. Fulham is at home to a struggling of late Aston Villa.
I'm going to go draw.
Okay, I think Villa is going to win. Villa should win. Villa should win this match, in my opinion. Fulham is always a question mark, but I think they get it together at Craven Cottage. Newcastle at home to Bournemouth.
Newcastle.
Bournemouth had that real good run.
Yeah, they seem to have cooled off a bit.
They have cooled off. At least they got someone else to score other than Dom Solanke. But I think Newcastle is going to win as well at St. James Park. Forest, West Ham. At the City Ground.
West Ham.
You're going West
I think
Ham.
they'll put in a performance after they got drubbed at home.
Yes. And I'm going to go with Forest because of the old saying here on the program. They do two things. They win at home and they score on the counterattack. So I think they're going to win at home. I think West Ham may be shook. I think you guys may be demoralized West Ham forever. I'd be all for it. Spurs.
I mean, I wouldn't hate that.
Nobody likes West Ham. All right. Spurs at home to Wolves.
Spurs, especially now that Son's back.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with the Wolves strikers. Let's see if Cunha gets to come back. We'll see if Chan is able to play and stuff like that. Doesn't look like it. And if this was a week or so ago, I would have picked Wolves. As is, I'm with you. I'm going to go with Spurs. And now, unfortunately, it's Man City, Chelsea.
City.
You're saying the City. I have to say a team that I'm going to take because I still like to look at myself in the mirror. I'm going to take Chelsea for the shock win. The shock win.
I would love it if Chelsea beat Man City. Let's get that very clear. But I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, probably not. But, you know, they did have that classic. Maybe the match.
They did have.
Match of the decade earlier this year.
I don't know about that.
One of the most fantastic matches. All kinds of goals. Stupid idiot calls by a bald-headed jerk. There's all to it. There's all kinds of stuff to it. Sheffield United and Brighton.
Brighton
should win it at Bramall Lane. I'm going to go Brighton as well. Yeah, I think you do not expect results like they got against Luton every week from Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Speaking of Luton, they're home again at Kenilworth Road. This time taking on only Manchester United.
Man United.
Yeah, Man United should add to the Luton woes. And if they do, it makes this next match, the last one of the week, very important. Everton at home at Goodison Park versus Crystal Palace.
I'm going to go Everton at home.
You're going to go Everton. This is the one I'm going to call it draw.
Okay.
Either way, it could add some interesting results there at the bottom of the table. Okay, so that's it. We're all done. Good luck on your endeavors next week.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone who joined us here today. Snark, where can the people find you?
Ooh, you can find me here on the good old Let's Get Ready Network entertainment program channel on YouTube thing every Thursday with yourself, young Ferris Muthana, most of the time, with the Rewatchers Council. That's our full 144 episode rewatch of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We've been having so much fun doing that. Our next episode, we'll be talking about the first season finale. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Get caught up on the other 11 episodes beforehand if you haven't. Also, Let's Get Ready Network After Snark back on the weekends. So that's the show Danny and I talk about things that are interesting us. Seems to be a lot of video game stuff lately. We'll be talking more video game stuff this week with a friend of Danny's from Brazil who actually designs video games. So that'll be interesting. What else we got? We got this right here. Starting 11 Tuesdays on the highlights.
Yep. The entertainment channel you can find a link to in the description of this episode. You can find me, like Snark said, starting 11 here, Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific, and the Rewatchers Council on the entertainment channel, Thursdays, 3 p.m. Pacific. You can also find me with Ferris Muthana most Fridays on the Open Table, 8 p.m. Pacific on Friday on the entertainment channel. No Open Table this coming Friday because I, of course, as Snark said, will be on special assignment away from home. And you can also find me and Ferris recapping the Six Nations Rugby Tournament on the Scrum Down. That's Thursdays, 3 p.m. Pacific on the Highlights channel. We're just having fun. We're not experts by any means in the field of rugby union, but I know a bit more about it than Ferris does, so I've been teaching him. So
nice.
Until next time, everybody, we're out.